Today we're comparing the newest Xiaomi Pad 8 and the Galaxy Tab S10 Lite. You've got two more affordable options, but which one actually makes more sense? Well, let's talk about it. Now, as far as pricing goes, normally these two are pretty close. You can actually get the Galaxy Tab S10 Lite as low as $250 right now on sale, where the Xiaomi Pad is normally about $100 more. Both of these start with 128 gigabytes of storage. The Xiaomi Pad is going to be a little thinner, a little more lightweight. One advantage with the Galaxy Tab is you can use a MicroSD card up to 2 terabytes, where you don't have that option with the Xiaomi Pad. But the Xiaomi Pad starts with 8 gigabytes of RAM for the base model versus only 6 for the Galaxy Tab. You can see the aspect ratio is just a little bit different on the Xiaomi Pad, where it's a little bit taller. One advantage with the Xiaomi Pad is it's got an IPS LCD display at up to 144 Hz refresh rate versus a TFT LCD display at up to 90 Hz refresh rate for the Galaxy Tab. The Xiaomi Pad's also higher resolution at 2136 by 3200 versus 1320 by 2112 for the S10 Lite. But when you put these two next to each other, it's pretty obvious that the Xiaomi Pad better contrast, darker blacks. The Xiaomi Pad has better viewing angles, also looks brighter, just has better screen quality pretty much all around. Now, the camera module on the back of the Xiaomi Pad makes the tablet rock back and forth if you have this laying down, where the Samsung tablet is pretty much flat. Another advantage with the Xiaomi Pad is it's got a larger battery at 9200 milliamp hours versus 8000 in the Galaxy Tab. You also get 45 watt fast charging with the Xiaomi Pad versus 25 watts for the S10 Lite. The Galaxy Tab did last a little longer in my typical battery drain test at 100% screen brightness at 7.5 hours versus 6 for the Xiaomi Pad. Keep in mind though, that's probably because the screen is brighter on the Xiaomi Pad. So if you turn that down, these two are probably going to be a lot closer. There will be some similarities between these two, considering they're both on Android. Obviously, they do some things a little bit different. The Xiaomi Pad actually looks very similar to what you would see on an iPad, and I've got to say, it actually looks pretty good on here. You've got a couple extras on Samsung, like the Edge panel over to the side with extra shortcuts. You also have the taskbar down at the bottom, which makes it pretty easy to switch back and forth between apps. You've got the option of Google Discover Newsfeed, left of the home screen for both, plus Samsung News on the Galaxy Tab. You've got Workstation on the Xiaomi Pad versus Samsung Dex with the Galaxy Tab if you want to be a little more productive. But of course, you can do split screen and floating windows on both of these as well. One advantage with the Xiaomi Pad is it actually has video out, so you can use an HDMI adapter to connect to a projector, TV, or external monitor, where you don't have that on the S10 Lite. You would have to do it wirelessly. Now, one big advantage for the Galaxy Tab is it's going to get 7 years of software updates versus 4 years of major software updates on the Xiaomi Pad, 6 years security updates. So not bad with the Xiaomi Pad, just not quite as good as Samsung. Obviously, some of this is going to come down to personal preference. I actually like things about the software on both, so you can't really go wrong with either one. Both of these also have pen support. One advantage with Samsung is the S Pen is included, so it's always nice to have pen support if you want to draw, take notes, and those types of things. You've also got the option of snapping the S Pen on the backside, although they don't put any marks anymore, so it's a little harder to find where that spot is. I think one of the biggest advantages with the Xiaomi Pad is when it comes to performance. You've got the Snapdragon 8S Gen 4 processor versus the Exynos 1380 and the S10 Lite. And you can see just by looking at the benchmark results, the Xiaomi Pad is quite a bit more powerful, which is definitely going to help years from now after software updates, and you've got a lot more stuff taking up space on your tablet. And you can see GPU performance isn't even close. I think both of these are pretty good options if you want to do some gaming, but if you want the more powerful tablet, the Xiaomi Pad 8 is going to win this category pretty easily. One advantage for the Xiaomi Pad is you've got a quad speaker setup where you've only got 2 speakers on the Galaxy Tab. But if you want the tablet that's a little louder and sounds a little better, I'd probably go with the Xiaomi Pad. But here's a quick sample of each just to give you an idea of what they sound like. As you fade away. You've also got higher resolution cameras on the Xiaomi Pad with a 13 megapixel rear facing versus 8 megapixels on the S10 Lite, and then 8 megapixel on the front of the Xiaomi Pad versus 5 megapixels on the S10 Lite. You can also record up to 4K resolution on the Xiaomi Pad versus only 1080p for the S10 Lite. Here's a few quick samples just to give you an idea of how they compare. If you want the tablet that has better screen quality, better sounding speakers, better cameras, actually I guess the Xiaomi Pad is going to be better in almost every category. I think really there's only a few reasons to pick the Galaxy Tab S10 Lite over the Xiaomi Pad, and that's going to be that it's cheaper. Maybe you prefer the S Pen over the Xiaomi Focus Pen, plus you're going to get 7 years of software updates with the Galaxy Tab, and there's probably going to be a lot of people that prefer Samsung software over HyperOS. So there's definitely some things to think about between these two. If you like tablets, phones, and other tech, I've got a lot more stuff that I'm working on. As usual, I'm trying to get 3 videos out each week, so you'll definitely want to keep an eye out for those upcoming videos. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.